Thank you very much for tuning into Pro-Life Nova Scotia. My name is John Michael, and I am speaking. Oh, you don't have a uterus. You can't have a say in it. No? Okay. Well, my DNA was 50% of the child that I am missing. I'm missing a 10-year-old. I'm missing a 10-year-old child. My son. My son is gone. René Julien, which is my son. Where is he? Well, I'll tell you where he is. So Dr. Michel Dow is a member of my family, prescribed abortifacient birth control to the mother of my other children. That child was conceived and was as beautiful and as wonderful and as valuable and precious and smart as my other wonderful children that I really love. I'm glad I got those, right? Don't man, I'm so glad. But I am lamenting and grieving the loss of my other child, right? So I'm missing a 10-year-old. That's the problem. So this is a tangible loss, right? So how did this happen? Well, very, very simply, is that the taxpayer-funded atrocity here. Taxpayer-funded atrocity is really what's going on here. A taxpayer-funded atrocity. What are you talking about? Exactly that. So that we have to basically, pay taxes. We're paying property tax, income tax, and all these other kinds of taxes for the municipal government to go to Dr. Michel Dow to pay her salary to kill our children. What? Let me say that again. Okay, so for example, you own a house. You own a house in, for example, Davie County, Nova Scotia, in Canada. You're paying your property tax, whatever that is. So you have to pay there. And if you don't pay, they're coming with the guns and they're going to steal your house. You could build your house. Let's say, for example, you build your house and all this stuff. You get an assessment and all this stuff, and it goes up for the rest of your life, and it keeps going up. And there's no type of amnesty or nothing. If you don't pay, you lose your house. Whatever. I mean, it's a little bit aggressive, but sure. So what do they do with the revenue? Right? They pay abortionists to kill our children. Why do they pay that? Because the law doesn't agree with medical science. So the law not agreeing with medical science is the whole point, which was a point that I didn't make in my other YouTube channel, which is the point of this new YouTube channel, which I got a new phone so I can make a real video of myself talking about that. Might be a little bit new information. I've never heard about that. So wait a minute. Let's just talk about what you didn't hear about. I thought birth control pills prevent pregnancy. Well, no. The pregnancy is successful. The conception is viable. All right, and the conception is successful. The pregnancy is viable, and those birth control pills don't actually prevent ovulation. Right, the sperm will meet the egg, and the baby is successfully conceived. Congratulations, you are a dad. Congratulations, you are a mom of a baby boy or a baby girl, right? So that is the start of life. And, the college gynecology says, I don't care about what the college of gynecology says. I care about what medical science says. This embryology is so clear. Medical science does not, there's no type of argument against that. Oh, the implantation is the starting of a pregnancy. Just get out of here with that. I don't know. I don't want to hear that anymore because that's nonsense. I mean, who says that? Who says that? But you can legally kill a baby up to 40 weeks in Canada for any reason at all. Oh, the mom wants to have a career and all this stuff. Well, she's crying. Oh, what about if the girl gets raped and all this stuff by her own father? That's what she'll say, and that she gets the right to have an abortion, and then she turns around and it's for no reason at all, other than the fact that she decided to not keep her knickers on. I don't know. There's no real reason for this baby to die. Why are we killing all these babies? Why is it permissible by law? It's because the law doesn't agree with medical science, right? And if the law doesn't agree with medical science, our society is doomed. Doomed. It's a serious, to the maximum value of that word, right? The maximum, possible way that we could use that word is, doom, right? What does that mean? Doom is that where we're going to lose our society, we're going to lose our culture. The language is going to start turning into Punjabi and all this stuff, and then we're going to lose our ethnicity, and the people are not having any grandchildren. I don't know if you're noticing, but Mr. and Mrs. over here, they had three children, right? Three. I know these people very, very well. Very, very smart man. Right? He was the boss at a company and all this stuff. The lady, she's one of my family members. Right? She was working at the as a public civil servant or whatever, and then they're both retired with three children, and all three of those children don't have any kids. All three. Another story here. We get a one. Well, she's a widow, and then she's got a daughter, and then the daughter's my age, right? These kids are my age, right? So I'm remembering the people that I know. The daughter's my age, and she's a widow. I remember the dad dying or whatever, but and she's a widow, and then she had one daughter, and then that daughter is now my age, and the chances of her conceiving a child is very slim, and so I mean they will die without having any grandchildren. Another story is that my very close to my house, there's two children, two boys, and then they don't have any girlfriends or anything like that. I think. The one has a girlfriend with she's a single mom or something like that, but they don't have any biological children at all. Another family, there's a girl and a guy, right? The two parents, Mr. and Mrs., right? They have two children, and they are not married. They are not married. The girl's getting older and is basically hitting the wall, if you want. There's out of childbearing age, right? The gap there, childbearing age gap. It's getting closer to 40, 40, I think she's 40 or something like that. No children, right? No children at all. Another family that I know, it's his husband, Mr. and Mrs. here. They got two girls, right? Two girls, and both of those girls are not having any children. They're married. I think one or two of them, I think both of them are married, but there's no children. Right? There's no children at all, right? So what's happening here? And more, right? This is not just. I was looking at my class picture, and it's a little bit freaky. Right? This is a little bit freaky. So pro-life. Nova Scotia is the channel that you were on. Thank you very much for tuning into Pro-Life Nova Scotia. If you remember me, we talked a little bit about a whole bunch of different topics, right? And I couldn't really narrow it down, but really, I knew there was something going on. I knew it. I knew there was something going on. So what did I do? I left Nova Scotia because getting a little bit crazy, right? It's getting a little bit too crazy. And we do have some thunderstorms here in the background. That's cool. Cool stuff. So, I mean, it's a little bit crazy. And the thing is that Dr. Michel Dow is guilty of murder. Guilty of murder. Mass murder. On an industrial scale, more there's we hear the greatest, and we got to talk about it, like Richard Ramirez, right? Ramirez, for example, psychopath, lunatic, mass murderer, satanic guy. He's actually praying to the devil and having these kind of things in his hand, like pentagrams and everything like that. Okay. Only killed, 20 or so people. Only, right? If that. The Green River Killer, for example. The Green River Killer. His name is Gary Ridgway. Killed about 50 or 60 people. I don't know. Not 50 or 60 people. It's not that much. It's What about Picton? Robert Picton. Okay, Robert Picton killed 49 people, apparently. Right, this is a Canadian mass murderer, right? And, he died in jail. The guy stabbed him in jail. He died a terrible death in jail. Nobody cried. But, the thing about that is Dr. Michel Dow killed more people than these people combined, right? So, for example, Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy, a terrible mass murderer, right? Just naming a few of the who's that guy that dressed up like a clown there? These once you get into the realm of mass murder, right? There's nothing that can happen for you. You are past the point of no return. I mean, I get it. Killing is fashionable and all this stuff, but really, at the end of the day, taking a human life is against the law. But the Canadian court says taking a human life is not against the law. Well, that's the problem. The law is so clear. I don't think anybody's going to disagree where the baby is a baby from day one. I don't think anybody's going to disagree that the value of the embryo is, there's nothing more valuable from the top of the clouds to the deepest trench, right? There's really nothing more valuable than an embryo. I don't think anybody's going to agree. disagree. I don't think anybody's going to disagree that there's nothing more valuable than the human embryo. I don't think anybody's going to disagree that thou shalt not kill is the law. You cannot get any more the law than thou shalt not kill. That is the law. And then what do you got? These honorable, learned judges getting their hands tied by these greedy politicians, bribed by the pharmaceutical industry, and now they have to tell me that this very reasonable and very just argument doesn't have any legal remedy. So what is the legal remedy that we're looking for? Well, number one is criminal indictments, right? We should at least have a criminal indictment. What would that look like? Life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. This is a dangerous, dangerous woman. Life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for at least 25 years. This is an extraordinarily dangerous woman, right? It's the women's rights and all this stuff. How dangerous are you? What are you saying? What are you saying? Right? If she has grandchildren, she doesn't even deserve her grown grandchildren. I'm not saying they're not good-looking kids. They're very nice kids, right? Whatever. Does she deserve it? I guess, I don't know, maybe. So, forget about the criminal indictments. Forget about that. Well, what about a class action lawsuit? Anybody that was deceived by Dr. Michel Dow's trickery and deception? Forget about that. Declaratory relief, right? Just the only thing that we're looking for is the call for justice. It's not about seeking legal remedies or compensatory damages. It's just demanding accountability, right, for actions that have irreversibly harmed a family and the society at large. The moral injury caused by the deception, which has led to the loss of a child, many children, that was conceived with intact DNA and potential for a full life, cannot be overstated. While the legal system might present obstacles due to its established framework surrounding reproductive rights and medical autonomy, the moral argument in this case is irrefutable. The sanctity of life and the irreplaceable value of each human being should serve as the ultimate guiding principle in any legal analysis. The court's ruling, therefore, must not simply reflect the application of law, but also moral integrity, upholding the fundamental belief that life is precious and should not be treated as expendable, regardless of any medical or legal justification. Or, for example, the Legislative Assembly would create these types of nonsense law that would basically disregard thou shalt not kill and make murder permissible. The path to justice, while the legal system may present challenges, these challenges must not overshadow the fundamental truth that life is invaluable, and that deception in the contents of medical practice cannot go unchallenged. The moral imperative of protecting life, coupled with the legal duty of doctors to provide full disclosure to their parents, must lead to the recognition that this loss was unjust. By seeking declaratory relief, right? The plaintiff does not merely seek to expose the deception, but to ensure that the moral value of human life is preserved, even in the face of a legal system that may be hesitant to confront the ethical consequences of medical actions that result in the termination of life. Justice, in this case, requires that life itself be acknowledged as the most valuable and sacred right, that no medical or legal practice should ever diminish or disregard its value. I cannot think of an argument that is more persuasive, and yet, they will certainly reject the motion to issue declaratory relief. All right, so we anticipate, right? We anticipate that there are significant legal challenges to this case, and we anticipate that the ultimate resolution of this matter should not be determined by blind reliance on past decisions, but or by misguided adherence to potentially flawed judicial reasoning. We contend that the law is not infallible, and while past judicial rulings hold persuasive authority, they are unlikely the product of human decision-making and subject to error. This law represents a unique opportunity to critically assess and re-evaluate legal frameworks in the context of reproductive rights and the moral imperative of preserving human life, which has unfortunately been lost due to deceptive medical practices. Okay, all right. So there's a whole bunch of more stuff here. I guess we gotta go.